Okay, let's see if this works. This is why I always like to do things a little early. Oh, crumbs, here we go again. Right, let's try and click it in without having a fairground ride. There we are. I think we're there. Yes. Ah, hey. Okay. My goodness me. Ah, dear me. It's the only problem when you go live in a group. It's different to when I do it on my YouTube. So, let's just do that. Let me click a button here. Let me just go and find myself in a group now. Okay, that's done that. So, I shall just wait for people to come in. I am obviously early. So, if you are joining, let me just pop in here a second. There we go. So, we'll have a look, see who's in there. Hi, Carol. Welcome, my sweet. Thank you for joining me. There we are. I'm hoping all being well. We've had some bad weather here. So, hi, Carol. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Yeah, we've had bad weather. Hi, Trace. Oh, long time no chat. Bless your cottons. There we go for you. Yeah, we've had some really bad weather here. So, hi, Trudy. Hopefully we're all good. That piece on the screen is amazing. This one, that is your bauble. It's a balloon. Woohoo! It's going to be a good one. That's what we're doing tonight anyway. So yeah, it is a balloon. It's just what you look at things and how you sort of invent them into something else. So hi, Sarah. Thanks for joining me. This is going to be a fun one. We've got an escapee penguin escaping to probably a nice island with sunshine. Very well, Sarah. Hopefully you're well. And hi. I worked it out. It was a ball. You'll be surprised that a lot of people didn't realise it was a bauble. Trust me. I just find it funny. You know, when I look at things and just see something totally different. I don't know. It's just a mad one. So hello, everybody. Like I say, I am a little early, so I have got a couple of minutes. Hi, Cheryl, Nicole, Mama, hello. Hopefully you're well. So, yeah. Oh, hi, Rach. Hello. Hopefully you're well. It's nice to see you here. So, obviously, this is done using all products found on Tracy Evans Boutique. All stencils, all stamps I'll be using are obviously Tracy's. Brushes I'm using are Tracy's. Products I have used on the other page is the Dina Wakely acrylic paints. And I have used a selection of oxides, which I'll go over in a second. Hi, Alison. Hi, Anne-Marie. Hello, my sweeties. Right, then where we at? We're nearly at Pimple past there. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Aunt. So I shall just give it a couple of seconds more and then I shall do the page as such. So we are in our lovely journal. And I'll tell you, we are getting through the pages really well. We've got some gorgeous things in here, some different things. I've still got pages available. And then obviously what we done the other day, that stuck lovely. I do like this. To be fair though, I love the birds are quirky. So I got this ready early because we've only got 60 minutes and I'm saying hello everyone by the all the black 3 inches. Oh, she's going to be happy. Hi, Helen. Hi, Sue. Right then, so let's do this then, shall we, without further ado. And like I say, I have saved a little bit of time in the journal and I've already painted and prepared this. So I'm going to tell you what I've done and I'm going to tell you what I've used. So obviously, let's turn it to there. So on this one, I have used, let me move those out the way. I've used TE23 and I've used just the large tree. And the escapee is this lovely little penguin here, diddly-doo-dah. So I've popped him in the basket. Now, I'm probably going to do this one on the alternative. Or I might be really quirky and put the little bird on as well. But I'm going to be using these particular stamps in the other page. And I'm actually going to bring in, I'm going to do it a little bit sort of grungy. So, yes, it is a bauble. And it is the SS7. You can still see what I've done there. But basically, there we go. It is literally a bauble stencil. When I saw this, I looked at it And I thought, oh, it's a blooming balloon, that is. Let's have a dabble. So that's exactly what I've done. And then I've just done my normal little trick with some lovely oxides around. Hi, Jules. Thanks for joining me. Hello. Hi, Julie Marie. Hi. Hello. So that's basically it. Now, if you're not very good at a bit of freehand, and I know everyone's sort of like, hi, Jan, a little bit iffy. So you can, this basket here, you can actually, and I did actually do this just for the sake of, you can put the basket there and just do a little bit, and then you've actually got that square basket, and you just got a freehandle line across there, basically. So you can actually use this, and I didn't put this down because I thought I'd show you, because I'm quite sure everyone's got some idea of how to draw a square, or you might just put a bit of tape around it and maybe do it that way. But I did also use ST4, which is obviously the stencil batch of the little the tickets, basically. So that's just on there, and it was just that one portion there that I'd done. But you could do you could do a long basket, you know, if you're really feeling it. You could do a really long basket and have a, you know, do this on an A4. Obviously this is A6. You do it even on A5, that would be really cool. So that's giving you your options, okay, and that's what I'm going to use. Now, the preparation that I've done on this little devil, I done with I mixed these two together and just popped them on. So that's turquoise and watery of the acrylic paint by Dina Wakeley Media. It's a Ranger product, absolutely fabulous to move around, and it dries quite quickly. But you know, when I'm thinking of time and waiting to log on and all the rest of it, I thought, yeah, one of them. Yes, I did use bleed proof on the trees. Don't leave home without it. You know how it goes, folks. So yes, I did use bleed proof, but I'll go through it all anyway. So I used TE34 on this, and that's going to be my backdrop for this card. Now already I haven't done anything and I'm covered. Wow, here we go. Oh, bless you, Helen. No, I just look at things differently. There's no genius about it. I just change things around, that's all. And then I give you ideas to look at things so you see things differently. So there's my background. So instead of it just being white and plonked on like I've done here, I thought this time we'll have a little bit of interest around it. And obviously, if I can, I'm going to incorporate these bubbles that Tracy's done on TE34 and bring them in with the wording off here and bring the colour in. So I'm really going to try and captivate this in. So it's going to be a little bit different from the original one. Okay, so without further ado, let me get this out the way. I'm going to put this here so it's a reference just in case anybody's following. So I'll pop that there for you guys. I have got the bleed proof white, which did go on the trees. Now I have got a dip. It's all right, Anne-Marie, no problem at all. There is a dip in and out, and that's just down to the weather here. I can't say it, it's one of them. You know me. I'll just go through the colours I'm going to be using, and I'm going to use the same colours roughly on here. So I used black soot on oxide. I used a bit of speckled egg, ripe persimmon. Hi Chris, hi Sharon. Lumberjack plaid, and I did put a bit of candied apple, but you don't need it. So to be fair, them two do the trick. Now the other things I did use was a pencil and a Pigma Micron archival pen, and this is a 02, just to get those lines on my balloon basically. Okay, so that is it. And obviously I've got the gorgeous brushes. Hi Louise, from Tracy Evans, to blend it all in because it's beautiful. I am using Nanny Chris, I miss that. I am using the Super Smooth A6 300 GSM. Don't leave home without it, you know how it goes. And I have got a little bit of tape just to show you guys. You know, it's one of them. Tape's the way forward sometimes. Okay, so everyone can see, and put that there. Now let's have a little dabbly-doo-dah and all that. Hello, YouTube is terrible. That's why it's always best to get yourself in the group, but I've got the backup as a just in case. So realistically, the best place you should be watching is in the group, in Tracy's group, which is Tracy's. Well, I've put it on the post, to be fair. You all know where to go. And if you don't, get yourself on Facebook, get yourself logged in, and you'll get into the group and you will see it this way. Hello! Hi Agnes! Hi Debs, how's my little JJ? Boom, boom, boom. And if Sissy Poo's on here, there's my little Meggie Moo. Meggie Moo and JJ. Right then, let's get this balloon on done and dusted. So the first thing I'm going to do is have a little dabble with some ripe persimmon. Now there's probably plenty on my brush, but just for the benefit of you guys, just a little bit, and I'm just going to have a dabble. Just a little dabble around. Now, this may move, but it's okay. I'm going to bring it down a little bit, not too much. And that's that. How easy is that? I'm just on the Facebook page. Yeah, exactly. This, the overhead view is Facebook, and it's the group, and it's perfect. Plain and simple. I have got over on reserve because I didn't know whether weather was going to kick me out. There is Facebook, but I can quite easily, if everything goes well, just put it to private so it's not going out to view. Okay. Hi Christine. So I'll have a backup plan just in case. Right, so I'm going to put on lumberjack plaid, and I'm going to do the red at the bottom because it is darker here. And I'm going to bring that up only a little and just bring it up to the top, just so it sort of kisses that top bit there. Now I'm just going to get a little bit of black soot. So really and truly, this is a very, very quick make. Now, black soot, I've got plenty of black on there, and as you can see, I'm just going to give it a light little dusting. Now, the key with this, a lot of it's going to be in your pencil work as in to put on, but all I'm going to do is I'm just going to kiss the bottom bit with the black soot. I'm not really going, so don't go off on one and just think my baubles going its time here. Just gently, because all we want to do is just give a little bit of gradient. And we just want to give that little bit of gradient just to say, oh, hello, we've got that little bit of shading. Okay. Hi, Teresa. It's always the best. There we go. So, now we've got what shape is a balloon as such, all right? Now, as I say, if you're comfortable to draw a box, fabulous. If not, your alternative will be, if you've got the snippets stencil, to get yourself a little box. Now you can do whatever size box you like, realistically, and I think I went roughly about that side and I brought it down, so I'm going to bring it down a little bit further this time, and all I done was just draw around it. So that gave me that sort of idea of a little box, yeah. And then there's his little basket basically. Now if you've got this or the stencil that you've just done, you can use that to draw your lines to put your balloon up. Now because this is obviously bigger than your stencil, as in your bauble, then all I'm going to do now is very, very quickly go here. Oh, aye, that's me end of my pencil throw up. Oh, Sissy Paws, I'm Maggie Moo. Bless. I said hello about 10 minutes ago because I thought, well, have I missed you? But yep, she's in the house. Our Amanda's in the house. Bless her cotton socks. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to just sort of think to myself, where roughly will these lines be? There we go. Bezzy Boo's in the house. Everybody's in. It's a brill. Right, so I'm going to leave it like that. And I'm just going to play. I'm going to bring that little line up like so and like so. Just so to me now, we've got the bauble shape. But that little bit there needs to have a little bit of yellowing. Now, you could use a crayon for that. Or you could even have a dabble with a little bit of mustard seed. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to very lightly. You could just dab it down like that. Or if you think to yourself, well, I'm going to stick with the colours that I've got. And you get yourself your orange, your ripe persimmon. And just bring that down. That will give you the flames part of going up, basically. So we'll leave that there. We need somebody in our little basket, basically. Now, on this particular occasion, we can put the other little fella in, because on this one, we've used one with a little heart in. And on this one, I'm going to use this grumpy one. There we go. Hello. We're in the group tonight. I did post on all the links, so everybody had plenty of time this morning to get themselves in where you need to be for tonight's live. I know you're all used to me being somewhere else. There's not a lot I can do. We're here tonight. Now, let's just pop a little bit. So I'm using some Versa Nocturne. I don't know where my archival's disappeared to. And what I'm going to do here is, now you can put a bit of tape. So let me just get me bit. Here we go. I'll just grab that. You can put a bit of tape over like so. Yep. To stop you from sort of putting Mr. Penguin too high. You can put him where you like. So I'm going to put him where you can see his little arm hanging over as well. Hello, Annette. Evening from Sweden. There we go. And then I'm just going to peel that away. And I ain't too worried that it's gone below the line, because we can have a basket and we can sort of colour that in accordingly. So we've got our little man on. Different planet. Yeah, totally. I'm always on a different planet. I am. I'll let you know when I'm there, though. That's about the best thing I can say. So the next thing I got is trees. Now, we'll do all the fancy bit up there in this. Is that because his hair on fire? Well, you know something, it could be. It could, if you wanted to bring it down a little bit more, you could put all the fancy bit on. You could put him on fire. It could have the basket on fire. It could be a fire-breathing penguin. Could be absolutely anything. It's your creation at the end of the day. And I just think he's fun. Right then, so I'm going to get the large tree. And that's the large tree of TE23. So this is all we're using now. So I am going to pop on and get my black out again. And all I'm going to do, now I am not going to do the whole tree, because I want it to look like he's took off and he's away on his adventures. So I'm going to have a little bit here. I'm glad you're enjoying this. It's nice to just have a little bit of something into it, something different. So we'll do him where he's just scooting over the treetop, shall we? So the little basket's missing the danger. And let's just pop that like so. Now, if you've got a bigger card, you could really, like go for it and proper, you know, put some mountains in. You know, if I was using a bigger card and we wasn't in the journals, I'd do this on A5 or an A4 and really put a proper little tangent on the go sort of thing, you know. Have things on the balloon. I'd have the robin on the balloon. I'd have another balloon. You know, so to me, that's what it's all about, yeah? Okay, so that's roughly your card. And now all we've got to do now is just bring it together. And I'm going to leave this where I can grab it, because I do, like I say, I do want to bring the wording in to how I've done the page on the other one. So let me move all the gubbins out the way, because it always takes over. Hi, Lexi. Hopefully you're well. Long time no speak and all that to-doodles. Hopefully everything's good. Now, let's move this out the way. Let's move this out the way. So I don't want to lose things. Especially, I'm just worried that, you know, when you always lose a little bits out of these. Oh, don't want to lose them. Now, I have thought about putting a pattern on the balloon. Normally, you have all sorts of quirky shapes and all sorts of daftness. Now, if you've got SS21... I thought that would make a nice repeating shape over there. So just for the sake of me thinking, oh, let's have a look. Let's turn it round the right way for starters. Let me just quickly just pop it on. And it hasn't got to be bang on, because all we're doing now is just playing realistically. So I want it to run that way down. And I'm just going to pop it over like that. And obviously with the red, I am just going to get lumberjack. Again, a little bit extra on there, not too much. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to tickle it over that balloon shape, because I'm just thinking to myself, it would be nice to see a pattern on the balloon. Oh, yeah, it's going to work. There we go. That'll do. We've all had the pleasure. Yeah, that's it. Well, this is it. The poor little penguin's, you know, doing a runner. He's off with his mate. They're off on an adventure. Love it. So that actually makes a lovely pattern on your balloon. And balloons nowadays have got that many different quirky things on the go. I think that looks really cute, to be fair. Might not be your cup of tea. You might want it plain. Do plain. You do you. You know how it goes. So let me just take my tape off that and put that back in there. So let's have a dabble. Let's bring everything together that we've got on there. So the first thing I want to do is I want to bring the actual card together. This bit here we can do in a second, nice and easy. But we've got these lovely colours on the go, and I'm going to use just what's on the brush. So I've obviously got ripe persimmon, which is a danger in its own self, to be fair. But, you know, if you just tickle it around the trees, bring it up and around, bring it down. This is only what's on the brush. You haven't got to have loads on this at all. All you want to do is just put a little bit of depth in the background. Okay. So, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of speckled egg. And all that's going to give me then is that sort of, is he taking off of a morning? Is he taking off of a night? It's giving me the perception of that wintry cloud, which obviously if we're going to put white on the trees, it's going to have snowed. So he's escaping the cloudy sort of day, night, time of year. He's going for, we'll have to do a little adventure thing, won't we? We'll have to get the penguins off to the seaside. I think maybe next week. What do you reckon? So all I'm doing now is I am putting in the oxide. So I'm putting speckled egg quite heavily just around the tree area now, because my next port of call is going to be black soot. So black soot, now I'll probably have enough. Let's have a tickle and see. Well, that's not too bad. Now it depends on the effect you want to go for. Do you want it to look quite dark? Then obviously you're going to put a little bit more on your brush. If you don't want it to be quite dark, then leave it what you've just dusted over there basically. But your tree area, you do want to bring it in together, because if you're going to put snow on, then basically you want the background to be dark enough so you can really play around with the snow on the branches. So yeah, obviously putting something on the balloon totally changes it from just being sort of, I don't know, steampunky maybe, you know. So we could go more of a traditional sort of, just a bit of line work on this one, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays in a minute. We'll have a dabble with it. So I'm just going to darken up. Now, you know me, there's got to be a fingerprint somewhere. Let me just try and keep it in the trees though. So I'm just going to just dash the corner just slightly, and again, there we are. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Now, as per normal, if you've got oxide down, it wouldn't be oxide if you didn't dash a bit of water on. So let's just do nothing major now. I'm being really good. I mean, I am actually. Look at this, crumbs. I am really being good. Now I'm trying to keep it off my balloon, daft as it is, I know, shocking. And I've only put a little bit on. Let me just get a bit of tissue. So you could, while this is wet now, do your normal thing and put a bit of white on, just so it has that movement to it, yeah? Or you can just let that dry and then we'll add the white at the end. So I want to dry this off because I want it completely ready to play once we start doing all the drawing. Okay, so lift it up so the heat goes through and it will dry your card a lot quicker. There we go, nicey, nicey, nicey. Got a couple of little dabs here and there, and that's really adds to the depth of that already, which I love. You want to start getting your stencils out. Sometimes, you know, when you've got so many things, you overlook just how simple something can turn a project into. And that's why I got the bauble and then wanted a design on without going too much. But the stencils will just do it like, and even if you do these as Christmas baubles, I'll totally change it now. But, you know, have a nice leaf, or do the trees as a leaf design and have these baubles hanging off. This will make a lovely design on baubles, and if you want to put a sentiment across there or anything like that, yeah. So, you know, use it however you see fit, in the sense of play around with it and make it what you feel you need it to be, realistically. Right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I've put my stencil away, but just to show you, if you've not got 20 million stencils, we're using the same stencil that we've obviously used here. Bam. And what I'm going to do now, obviously I've got Mr. Man in his basket, so I know I'm going to bring that around like so. So I'm going to make sure he's sitting in the basket now. Yep. And then let me just see, have I got a rubber somewhere? Yes, I have. And obviously Mr. Penguin doesn't want a line through his body, so I'm just going to rub that out just with my putty rubber. That's my putty rubber, okay? If not, any rubber makes no difference. It hasn't got to be a putty rubber. You can use whatever you've got. Now, with it being a basket as such, you can give it a little wiggly line if you want. If you've got arthritis or hand problems, this has not got to be perfectly square. Don't worry about it. However, when you're putting together all these little bits here and you're going behind the balloon, you do want sort of straightish lines. So let's bring that up to so. And then if I do another line here and bring that up to about here, and maybe here to there sort of thing. Yeah, I think that'll be about right. So to me, hi Gloria, hopefully you're well. Hello, hello, hello. So what I've done now is I'm going to have some sort of netting or a movement for the balloon, the shape of the balloon. This bit here I'm going to turn into where the flames go and takes Mr. Balloon off onto his adventures with Mr. Penguin setting in there. And then I'm going to put some flames. So it looks like obviously the heat obviously is rising the balloon, but it's just giving you that sort of bit of story to tell. Now, what I'm going to do here is I've put a line attaching here, and then I've done another straight one here. The other ones around the back of the balloon. So obviously we're doing that spherical shape now. So let me put them out the way and put them here. So this is where, if you're not arty-farty, don't worry, because all you've got to remember now is you obviously you've got your top. Yep, I've done this so it's as friendly as possible. So you've already got your lines. Now, if you're not very good at drawing your lines or following a shape, use the stencil, okay? And it hasn't got to be perfect. So if you want to follow it round like so, then you can do that. All you've got to do is take down those lines just to where that one line comes on, so it looks like Mr. Balloon's attached, yeah? And then again, I'm just going to follow this around. And don't worry if you go out of the lines or wobbles. We've got pencils. We can shade it in. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a bit of a thicker line to there. And again, I'm not too worried if it goes fatter, thinner, looks different. So this balloon is going to be different to the other balloon. Because you know me, I never do the same. I like to mix it up a little. There we go. Okay. So we've now got our basic balloon shape from that lovely stencil that we've had, Mr. Bauble. Okay. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to pretend that that goes across. And that's going to give me that added shape here. And I'm just going to, just a little bit with my pencil, just bring it along. Now, if you haven't got a decent pencil, I'm sure you've got crayons, and if you haven't got crayons, stick with your pencil, you know, so you can use the crayons if you want, and I'll get them out later to do a bit of shading just to show you. But if you haven't got them, don't worry. Okay, I'm sure they're still in stock. So here now, obviously we've got the flame, so I'm going to bring that down and just around. So I'm just going to sort of square it off, not too much. It hasn't got to be bang on or anything like that. And I'm just going to just roughly, just with my pencil still, just do a couple of little lines. So I'm going to show you. So I've just done a couple of little lines going across, and you can hatch it down if you want. And that will just give you a little bit of shading in a different way, because what I want to do is focus on the flames in a minute. Now I've got pencil. Okay, but the pencil I'm using is a Car Noir, and it is a set that I brought, and it's ones that I do my drawings with. So it is basically just all graphite. You can just, yeah, a normal pencil's fine, but this is just one I draw a lot with and I love. So it's just a graphite stick basically. So sorry if that's confused anybody. So now where we've got those two little dots, and as you can see, I've got a dot here and a dot here, and that's just from the basket. And all I'm going to do now is follow that curvature, and I'm just going to roughly just sketch up a bit like an orange segment, yeah? And I'm going to do the same that way, okay? And if you want to turn it around, you can do that. You do what's good for you, okay? So it's just a rough sketch. Oh, you're welcome, sweet. Just a rough sketch. And then roughly down the centre here, as in a segment of an orange. So it looks now like a baseball. So I've done here, down and here. And that's just a sketch, okay? You've just ordered some distress pencils. Oh, honestly, to be fair, let's get them out. Oh, distress pencils are amazing. I'll get the black out because that's the one I mainly used on this one, okay? So, yes. So, I've got the watercolour pencils, distress, black soot. Oh, love them. And then basically, you can sort of play around with a little bit of shading if you need to. Now, bear in mind, if you're going to move these around with water, they move just like watercolour, because they are watercolour pencils, but you will get that movement and it's just divine. So again, you do how you feel you want to do this particular project now. So I'm just going to play around, bring these lines down like so, and then on the outer bit I'm just going to go outer. Oh, bless you, that's very kind. All I'm going to do now is just play around. Now, the best thing with these, once you get a sweet spot, and the sweet spot, I mean, is literally, you know, when you've drawn and drawn and drawn, you get that lovely smooth. That's my sweet spot. So, all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to bring it down. And as you can see, that sweet spot that I've got on there will give me that beautiful line all the way around. So it's all the same. And that's what I love about these pencils. So not only can we blend around and play with them as we do, but my goodness me, it just gives you another depth. So as you can see now, we're starting to pull this together. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring down this a little bit darker, and I want it to look like we've got this netting going over. Now at the bottom here, you could do one of two things. You can get your bauble back. Then there's no wrong with doing it this way, and it's not cheating or anything. However, it's easier for you, because if you want to now bring that dark a little bit here again, because it's nice to have that shading at the bottom, or if you've got the distress watercolour pencils, what I say to you is get your sweet spot, and then just where you've got your lines going up, you just want to have that little bit of dark. It's only just a little bit, just to give you that little bit of added oomph to that spherical shape, because you're going to have the light at the top, and then obviously underneath is dark. However, where we've got the old Bunsen burner on the go here, obviously it's going to be light. But I just want to pull that up just a little, and if you want to do a couple of little lines up so it gives you that sort of movement of the balloon and the movement of that spherical shape, then that's how you want to go about it. So, nice and easy as such. Like I said, this is easy for me to say to you, and I know some of you will struggle, and I don't want you to think I'm being rude by saying that. But if you stop and start, you will pick this up very, very easy. I promise you. And you'll be easy. You'll be doing these all over the place. You will. You'll have the most beautiful baubles going. Right, so all I'm doing now is I'm still on my crayon, and I'm just going to pull together just that shape, because obviously you've got the flame going up, so that's going to be light. Okay, and I'm just gonna darken these edges now. So with my other point, now normally when we do colour, we turn the pencils around, etc. But when you've got a point somewhere, you'll keep your point until obviously you need to move it to resharpen it as such. But with this, because we're blending out and we're shading, you can just keep it in one place, which is fabulous. Now this little devil down here, depending on what set you've got and depending on what brown you've got, you can colour it in with these, or you can get your pencils. Let me just grab the pencils, and I have put them in a case now. So I've taken them out of the box, so the newness is off now. So they're all in there. So the old polys are in there now. So I'm going to get out a selection of browns. So I'm going to go a darker brown and sort of this camely brown. Okay. Close that up out the way. And then I want my little baskets. Bless his little cottons. So now, wicker baskets normally, isn't it, if you want to go with tradition. So if that's the case, well, let's do a sort of front, two back. Let's go up and down sort of thing. So it looks like wicker. Even though it's up in the air, you might not see it that way. And then I'm going to give that light strawish sort of colour. You can go lighter if you want. It's your choice, your call. Okay. And I'm going to go back in with that dark again. And I'm just going to do it so the edges are just showing that depth again, because you've got to look at it and think of it as a shape. If it's a basket, it could be square, but then again, it could be one of the rounder baskets. So I have done the interpretation that this is a round basket. So again, I just want it to look so the edges are going to be darker and then it's going to come into lighter. And again, if you want to do some cross hatch work to make it look like it's sort of thatched, brilliant. And I'm just going to colour in darker. So Mr. Penguin is fully on display now. Bless his cottons, look at that. Now, typical with our little penguins, let me just grab a yellow. Because, you know, if we look at like the emperor penguins, they usually have a dash of yellow just under the chin here sort of thing. So let me just put him a little bit of yellow. And then, obviously, again, I'm still on my Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a little bit of depth on my penguin, so round by the basket and just by his arm. So I'm just going to put a little bit of depth here. Okay, now this is where you can be as creative as you want personally now. So I'm going to get the reds out of the selection box. So I'm going to go a darker red, and then I'm going to go maybe a lighter red. So I'm going to sort of look in, that's more like a pink as well, so a pinky red. So I'm going to go like that. Now, if you wanted to really pull little bits and pop little bits here and there, you can do of that stencil work that you've put on. You can do it enough to say, you know, pop the designer, and you can even, hi Sylvia, how are you my darling? Hopefully you're well. Lovely to have you. You can really play around with adding colour and different depth now, because once we've done all this, and then you want to put on that little bit of like a netting design over it, you can really pull the colour in many different ways now. Now what I want to do is I'm just going up and down, just so it's giving me that sort of scratchy look, which with a balloon there's a lot of difference. It's not just, you know, beautifully smooth. When you look at the hot air balloons, they've got a lot of stitching, and it's all sorts of like daft little bits. Now again, move your project around. You haven't got to keep it in one place. Always remember, you work to you. You're not working to the card. The card will not rule you. You rule the card. That's the best way I can say it. I've got the darker red. Now I just want to bring a little bit of darkness on the top, just to give it that shape. And again, we've got to think about is that spherical shape. So I'm just having a little bit of dark there, and then down here again I'm just going to think about the shape of the balloon, and I'm just going to bring this up. Now I really want to try and bring the eye to sort of say, well, that balloon has definitely got a shape to it here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go under where the dark is, just with that red a little bit more, so it's giving me like a drop shadow. So I'm just going to pull that round again, and then again around here will be lovely. And it's all about just playing around with what your eye's looking at, basically. What's that? Do penguins have kneecaps? Not these little devils. He's trapped in a basket. He's got no kneecaps at all. That's an odd question. Do penguins have kneecaps? I'll have to Google that now. That's going to be bugging me all night. Now at the top here, I'm just going to go round a little bit. Okay. So again, we've got that sort of spherical shape. We've got Mr. Mr. Penguin with no kneecaps, I might add, in the basket. Right, now I'm going to get the black, and what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to add a little bit of added shading just to bring the bottom of the basket together as well as the sides, and obviously just where he's in, hiding his kneecaps. Obviously, you guys, honestly, you do make me chuckle with the questions you ask. Right, and then I am actually going to start bringing certain lines together where you think to yourself, ah, that's where you can see, you know, that balloon sort of taking shape a little bit now. Okay, and again, it's only just lines here and there. They walk stiff-legged, that's it then, so they ain't really got kneecaps then, have they, realistically? Right then, so that's the pencils done. Now, time for the bits now. It's whether or not you stick with the pencil, because if you haven't got the archival Pigma Micron pen to do your little bits of drawing, again, your choice. Let me just see if I've got a couple of different sizes. Yeah, let's have a look. I'll have a look at an 05, see if that's any, just in case. Again, you do whatever you feels right for you. Now, oh, she's Googled it, Marie. They actually do have kneecaps. Oh, wow, fabulous. I love it. Right, so what I'm going to do is, on the basket, I want to do some little dots here. So that's where my little bits are hanging together, sort of thing. So everything's sort of doing what it needs to do. And then I'm going to do a little bit of a line here, just because I can. And then I'm going to hang a little bit coming down just off it. You know, when you have these little pull lines every now and again, whatever the fancy name is, don't know. So you're just going to literally do a little line down out the way. Now, up here, depending on this one particularly, had sort of just little swirly bits here and there. So again, you can go as ornate as you want. So you can go very sort of steampunky. You could put cogs and lines and bits. But what I'm going to do, oh, there we go. I'm just going to sort of say, come down on this line that we've drawn, and I'm just going to do it so it's just a bit hanging. Same on this one. I'm just going to do just a bit hanging, and I'm going to bring it around just a bit hanging, and same here. And all I'm doing there is just to give you just that, you know, where they have like a netting over and sometimes they just have that loose bit. You Googled it out of interest, I love it. And then all I'm going to do is just put some like just little dots on those hangy lines, just so it draws your eye and you're thinking to yourself, oh, hello. Yeah, because then if you don't want any sort of you know, chained effect or anything, I can't believe that we're Googling, have penguins got kneecaps? Love it. Do they carry anything? Love it. Sorry, I couldn't resist that one. And I'm just going to do like a U shape to there, and then I'm going to go again and again, and then I'm going to do it, and each time I'm doing it I'm thinking about that spherical shape. So off that, I mean, you could put a dot on there. You could, well, you could put as many dots as you like, really. You know, you could do a couple. You could have something hanging down off it. This is where you can be as adventurous as you like. The more you put on, the more it'll, your eyeline will go to different parts on the card. And, you know, you'll look at different things and you'll think, oh, wow, what's that here? But whatever you're putting with dots and lines and twirly bits, just remember, oh, hi, Gloria. Just remember that you're going to have little white highlights on these, okay? So I'm also going to just do something very loosely at the top. And I'm not even going to have this sort of touching anything. It's just a little scoop, yeah? Just very little. And then a little dot in the middle of that. And then if you want to do a little line down, you can do, so it looks like it's got a bit of netting hanging off it. Same as the other ones. Again, you do what you want, really. You know, excuse me, you might even have one of the stamps that you want to use that will actually put it together, where you'll think to yourself, oh, that's going to give me that effect that I want. You could even put the bubbles, you know, the bubbles that we use, that would look really nice on it as an under effect sort of thing, yeah? So on here now, I also want to just do a little bit of something to catch the eye that's going to be around here. Because, you know, some of these balloons have got all sorts of pretties on them. You know, we don't want something that's actually going to catch fire because Mr. Penguin's off on his adventure. And he's got kneecaps because we've Googled it, you know. So for me, you just put these little bits in, which will just add just to the definition now of your balloon. Now, if you wanted to, good, because I can't wait to see everybody's hot air balloons now. If you wanted to now look at your little basket and really start to pull out, you know, little bits here and there, do that. Do a little crisscross, little hatching. So that really does sort of give you that sort of wicker effect. Again, up to you. You can quite easily use the pencil if you think to yourself, not quite feeling that vibe. Yeah, because once it's on, bear in mind you've already got the polychrome, your pencils on there, it can still move around. So nothing is set in stone because we're going over with layers. Okay. Oh, I forgot to put the pencil away. So if there's anything that you want to pull in, look at that design, look at that, we can pull little bits up here. You can do that because it's a hot air balloon and you can put whatever you like. You can really, really pull this to be quite sort of old-fashioned circus-esque, you know. It's an escapee from the circus. Phileas Fogg, bam, I knew it, yes. You know when you're trying to think of something, thanks sis. Phileas Fogg, bam. She's on it like a car bonnet. Boom, 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 boom. Right, I've put my pink in the red spot and the red spot needs to be in the pink spot. Puh. There we go. Right, so that's done and dusted. Now, here's the fun bit. Let's get the white out. Now, you know I'm a really big... And Tracy uses this as well, so I'm not using something that's out of sorts here. So, I'm on my last dregs. I've had to put a bit of water in just to get the end bit. So, that's one pot of this done. Luckily I have a reserve. Now I've got the smidgen in there, which is brill, and I've got quite a fine detail brush. Now I'm just going to put it in my gob, show off. I say balloon, Phileas Fogg balloon, well it's one of them. Now for one, we need a bit of we need that sort of umphy bit where we've got a bit of flames going up here. Now if I say to you it's a bit of a wiggle, and I mean it is a bit of a wiggle, and it is the slightest little touch, yeah? And I mean, scary, and I think we're all wired the same, aren't we just? So you are just touching it the most slightest little bit. And that will give you that effect from afar of the flames going up. You know, when you can't see, but he's obviously pulling the thing to go, whoosh, yeah? Because he wants to go higher. The trees are in the way, yeah? Now, while you've got the white out and it's such a fine point... Yeah, I'm not going to put it back in my gob, but you know what I'm going to do, yeah? While it's that fine point, you can touch the smidgen, and then you can look to touch here and there if you want a little bit of a highlight in places. Now, you haven't got to do this if you don't want to. If you suffer with tremors, shakes, arthritis, and you think, Lise, you're having a laugh here. Yeah, I am having a laugh because, you know something? If you do something wrong and it hits somewhere else, just rub it down because you've got the crayons, or the fancy pencils I should say. You can move it. But, you know, if you can actually just hit it here and there, you will get the most fabulous effect, you know, just of that little bit of light here and there. And it gives you another depth, you know. So just bear it in mind. And if it's too thick a line, just wipe it down. We have water, yeah. Watch. Water, we can move it. Remember, nothing's final until you put it down, yeah? So don't worry, okay? Look at that, beautiful, beautiful. So honestly, that's the best thing with this. And you get your little tissue, do it down, gone, yeah? Simple. And that's what I like about using the pencils underneath with all those layers. Brilliant. So all I'm going to do is just here and there, just with the end of the brush, just so it gives me that little bit of highlight really. And then if I wanted to, just sort of here and there, just with those, you know, floating U's. I don't know what else you want me to call him. They're not, if I turn it over, I suppose we've got McDonald M's. Yeah, you know, that way. But we're not going to do that. We're going to go this way, yeah. only here and there. So again, don't worry if you have more white on one. There is no set routine for you to have anything anywhere, really. And then all I want to do now is just maybe a little bit down, just on some of those ropes. And again, tiny, 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 tiny. Now, if you've got the confidence just to dab the very, very end of the brush and just dot it there, Mr. Penguin's got his eye in. Perfect. And then again, because we're going to put it as a winter scene, we're going to put a little bit of snow just around the edge there. Now, this is where we're really going to play the game, yeah? So we're going to put plenty, now I say plenty, dough over welly, but I'm glad you're all enjoying it. We're in time frame. We're going to do this. This is nice. Where we've got Tracy's lovely trees now, obviously the top of the tree is going to have snow. And all I want you to do is just dab it here and there. There's an area there. There's a gap there. Don't just go boom, 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 boom. Tap it in here and there. Look where the tree is sort of showing you there's a dark bit, and just lay it on top of the dark bit, and that will be perfect just to pop that bit of snow on. Hi Diane. So all I'm going to do here is just pop it along. He's singing his song. I don't know where he's off to. I think he's off to Clacton. Maybe. I just don't know. I don't think he's thought about this adventure, because he's obviously got kneecaps now. He could be off to Turkey to get new teeth and have some surgery. I mean, you just don't know. World's his oyster. Absolutely. Okay. So again, you can really, really, really go to town. So all you've got to think about is layering it. And I mean, think of Christmas. How easy did that tree look? How much depth has that gone? The white honestly pops, Trace. It's just like, boom. But yeah, there's so much I can do with this. So much. It's just like, But, okay. Let's give it a wiggle. Now, let's finish the card off with some snowdrops. I've got plenty of wet in there, as in wet ink. I'm just going to get my fan brush. It's my only fan I got, bless. And I'm just going to tap it into that white. Now I'm just going to put it back into the water, and I'm only dabbed the end where the white was, because all I'm going to do now is give a little bit of a snowstorm. Yeah, don't get there's me saying don't go too balmy, because you don't want to ruin the effect of the card. Yeah, now searching for the honestly oh, yay, I got fans. Boop, boop, boop. Bless you. You can see where I've just dabbed it there. Now, if you do that and you think to yourself, I've just ruined my card, just move it about. You know me when it comes to moving things on oxides. You can quite easily put a snowstorm in there, dead easy. But I don't want to do that, because I want you to concentrate on this. So, again, if you want a little bit more, don't overdo the white now, because the effect of this gives you the card all by itself. So, just a few little taps. And that's it. And to be fair, I don't think we need any more. Even I'm going to back off on that now. Right, so time wise we're okay. We're brilliant. Let me dry this off. Here we go. Ready? Oh, behave yourselves, you guys. It's a bauble with a penguin. We're having a play. Right, let's get this white dry and let's see what it looks like on the book, yeah? I'm glad you're enjoying it, folks. Tracy's going to be inundated now with bauble stencils. Yeah? Make sure you get these orders in, folks, because I don't know what stock's there. But I'm sure, mind you, she's got the back door to Royal Mail. She's she's got fairies coming out of her ears. Okay, so now, total contrast to this one, yeah? So on this particular one, we had the white background, including Lisa's finger marks, which are really good. On this one, what I've done is I've used the Dina Wakley, as I said from the beginning. I've used those two colours, and I think that in itself complements the card. Now, what you could do is pop a bit of white if you wanted to, or I don't know, you could do a drop shadow on that. You could quite easily put a colour around it. But what I'm going to try and do is just creep the card into this. So let me just get some pink frog glue. You know me, you don't leave home without it and all that. And yes, I presume realistically a white background would look at the dog's danglies on this, if I'm honest. But do I have time to do it? You know, somewhat, shall we? Let me just grab a piece of card. Hold your horses. Let me just grab a piece of card. I'm just going to grab a piece of pink frog, and I'm just very, very quickly, let's put that there a second, because I'm just thinking with that blue and the white, I think it'll pop it beautifully. And I don't want to ruin, because I want you guys to have the full effect. And we've still got time. Gosh, I'm doing all right here. Let me just whack my thing up. Let me just, now we are going to get a bit of a glare, so I apologise, but let me just quickly, and I know people don't like, you don't cut on your board. Well, I do. I'm always the rule breaker. The only thing is now I can't find my knife. Where's my knife again? Hello, where are you? Ah, here you are. Right, okay, got it. Just a knife and all that, you know. Turn away if you're scared. Right, so all I'm going to do is I am using the layering rulers because they're just fabulous. And look at this. How quick is this to layer? I haven't even got to think about it. I mean, look at that, done, dusted, tickety-boo. Oh, look at that now. Perfect. Sharp knife away, alert over. There we go. At least we know he's got kneecaps. Right, okay, so now look at that. Perfect. Right, now I'm going to layer that in. So we've got that, and as I say, honestly, I always cut on mine, but I know some people are really funny about cutting on glass mats. So, you know, for me, that's what I got it for. I love cutting on it. It's just so easy, convenient, done, dusted. My blade does, you know, does blunt a bit quicker than it should, I'm sure, but it's one of them. Now, like I said, I did want to bring some of the colour in, but I think, to be fair, that set it off perfectly. So, Dina Wakely, that's a mix of the two colours, turquoise and watery, beautiful. And that brings out, because we've got that little bit of speckled egg in, just brings it all out perfect. Yes, I know it blunts my blades quicker, but it's okay. I've got a pack. I don't mind. It's called convenience. Me self-healing cutting mat just didn't do any of it, to be fair. So we have this one first, which we've done, which, you know, I love, and I've got my dirty paw prints all over it, as you do. But I must admit, if you can trouble yourself to get the bubbles out and, you know, put it down and black it in, and even if you wanted to just bring it in that sense, perfect. This would make a cracking Christmas card. You know, to be fair, if somebody loves going ballooning or goes off on adventures, use whatever you want in the basket. If you've done this on A5 or A4, you could have several, you know, like they do all those events, don't they, with loads of balloons and stuff. So can you just imagine like a penguin race, or you can stick the little bird on the top. Yeah, so much you can do. So just to recap on the colours, just while I got time to. I used speckled egg, black soot, ripe persimmon and lumberjack plaid. Those were on the oxides. Obviously I used the bleed proof white, don't leave home without it. And those two acrylics, that was for the background, and the background stamp I used was TE34. This is a fabulous stamp for so many, and that would actually look gorgeous on the design in that balloon. Okay, so that's that. So the balloon, let's go, let me just recap. That was SS7. Look at me, I'm putting it away as we do. I'm glad you've all enjoyed tonight. I like to do something a little different instead of just whacking a mess into a book, you know. So it's nice to have a little bit of a pull together. Up and away, definitely, Jules. And we used, just for that pattern, we used SS21. See, it's surprising. You would never have thought to use that on there. I don't use this enough. You know, the zigzags would have gone. Any pattern, really. Even that would have looked gorgeous on it, to be fair. That would have been totally different, yeah? And then, obviously, the main event was the TE23. Now, I didn't have a chance because, to be fair, I don't think it needs the words on this, but we used the large tree and we used this little critter this time. All right, so I can't wait to see your designs that you've done. I can't wait to see what you put together. So I'll put those there. So SS21, SS7, TE23 and TE34. So we've got a couple of minutes to spare. So again, be adventurous, have a go. I will upload this. It'll probably be tomorrow onwards because Facebook has to do the checks. So then I'll put it in the tutorials. So this will be there for you guys for forever, sort of thing. All right. So enjoy that. Have a play. Look at your stencils. Have a look at what you think. I want kneecaps. You know, next time I might do him, you know, on an adventure. I might even do him out of a basket and just like doing some sort of James Bond theme. What do you reckon? Right, guys. Love to you all. Stay safe. And I'm back tomorrow. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. That's another day. But I've really enjoyed tonight. And thank you so very, very much for your company. Glad you've enjoyed it. Get your trees out. Get your stuff out and have a play. So I'm going to go over this way and say good night to these. There we go. That's that done and dusted. But yeah, please don't be shy. Have fun and be creative. I will show you my carnage before I go. Woo, aye, you're off on a spin. No penguins were injured in the creation of this. That's the one we've just done. I will take a photo. And that's the one. And you can see, well, look, we've got little sparkly bits and all sorts on the go. There's a bit of a mandarin there. But yeah, there we go, sweeties. So, I'll put it on. That's it. Do you know what I love about this? When you've got the journal on the go, you can just pop it like so and it just sits there. So, there you go, sweeties. All right, we're off. We're on the fairground. Phileas Fogg is away. Love ya. See you all very soon. Well, I'll see you tomorrow if you behave yourselves. See you later. Good night, everybody.